like where it says "Be a horse, 10,000 BC." You're thundering across the plain, blah blah blah. And then ends with "You're a little girl's toy."
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Did you not read it?
I might not have read that one.
Okay, well
I
this is
might
a
have
good.
missed that.
Well, this is good. I'm glad you clicked the recording button because this is a great. This is Doug's. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Dads Talking. We are once again on the train of sporadic uploading, but we're going to try to get back on it again, as we always say. I found this thing a little bit ago. I sent it to Tom, and I was just asking him as he hit record, "Hey, didn't you read this?" And I just thought this is just a great. This is another great piece of literature slash writing slash someone just bringing you down a little journey. So let's start by reading it. Be horse, 10,000 BC. Thunder across the Eurasian steppes in massive herds. Humans approach with spears, heart pounding. Be cornered. They don't eat you, they offer grain and salt. Be domesticated horse, 4,000 BC. Humans tie a cart to you and your friend. Pull the cart around. Every human that witnesses your work is amazed. Your kind spreads across the world side by side with man. Be warhorse, 2000 BC. You pull the chariots that decide empires. Without your speed and power, no conquest, no trade routes. The Hittites, the Egyptians, the Mycenaeans, their glory rides on your legs. Civilization is literally pulled forward under your power. Be warhorse, 300 BC. Bigger and stronger than ever before. Humans now ride on your back. Be called Bucephalus. Carry your master across the world. Kingdoms fall under your hooves and your master's sword. Hailed as the greatest of your kind to ever live. Sire a legendary lineage that becomes the envy of the kingdoms of men. Be warhorse, 44 BC. So widespread and diverse that armies are made up of men and horses from thousands of miles apart. Turn the tide of world-changing battles and maneuvers. Roads you're trod down will be used for millennia. History is carried forward on your back. Be warhorse, 900 AD. Armored head to hoof. Steel in the field, genteel in the pasture. Just like the master. You carry the men that bring news, help, honor, and leadership. You are the symbol and source of their status. Civilization depends on you. Be warhorse, 1683 AD. Islam lays siege to Vienna with all of Europe prostrate beyond. The city is desperate for relief. Supplies are short and the underminers threaten the walls. 3,000 men in winged armor ride on your back to the salvation of Christendom. Europe is literally saved by your turn of the tide. Be standard horse, 1778 AD. 15 years old. Pretty unremarkable, but notice loud noises don't bother you. Be given away as a gift. Owner already has another horse, but all right. He ends up liking you more because you don't care about noise. He starts riding you through a bunch of crowds making a ton of noise. Become a famous symbol of the era and watch the British Empire surrender to your boss. America is literally born on your back. Be workhorse, 1915 AD. Drafted along with your master to fight for the king. Pull ammunition carts from rail depots to guns. The machine horses on tracks make your job easier because you don't have to carry as much as far. 8 million of your kind are killed to fight the war to end all wars. The war doesn't end war. The war ends your relationship with mankind. Be horse, 1955 AD. Nobody has use for you anymore. They've made smaller machine horses. They're cheaper to feed. They're easier to learn. They carry more weight. They take all of your jobs. Be horse, 2026 AD. Nobody cares about you anymore. You survive as a pet to young rich girls. Sometimes she shows you off to an audience, but you feel something is missing. Your cousin runs races for gambling addicts. Your brother sometimes pulls tourists around in New York. You heard of some horses that carry cops around, but it sounds like folklore. There are more toys of your kind than actual horses. Just again, just a great like wow that that de-escalated quickly.
It's missing probably the most important part. What year was the Ford Mustang unveiled? What was the first year of the
I know,
Ford
you know,
Mustang?
I
Like
actually thought of that.
65, 66?
Maybe that was it. There wasn't one of the dates in there 1965?
I remember 55 and it said it was useless. Did I miss the Mustang debut in there?
But well, no, they did not mention the Ford Mustang. Oh yeah, it was 55. You're right. Yeah, they didn't do 65. You did miss it. I appreciated the reference to Bucephalus and also the vague reference to the whole, revolution and all that. That was good.
Can we add the 2027 update to that when it's ready? Or maybe it'd be 2026. Oh, no, she's pregnant right now. We'll do it in
I was going to
2027.
say, is this Bonnie Blue update?
Oh, it's bound to be, yeah.
I was going
I,
to say horses.
after
Fine.
her
That's
last
obviously.
after her last stunt flopped, I think that's all she's got left is a real unbridled horse video to try to stir up some trouble.
Well, that's interesting. I thought you were going to say something about her being the main attraction
Oh, I could have gone there too.
and,
Yeah.
saddling some debts in Bali, maybe, or
No, that one's too easy. I'm not fooling around like that. That's not really where I'm at.
I was going to go real easy and just talk about riding, but okay.
This makes me want to revisit the fake intro I did with Unbridled. What was that? Horse fight? Ultimate horse fighting. Man, that was a fun
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, that's what I do remember that. Wow. You know what? That was probably longer ago than we think.
That was probably around January or February of like last year because it was just after
Had
we
to have
moved
been
into
last
this
year.
house because the whole point was the Lowe's thing.
Oh,
It
really?
was right around that time with the Lowe's is not a sponsor bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were doing you were just
Oh, so angry.
angry
Creative writing.
angry
met anger.
writing.
Yep.
Angry writing. And
But to
then,
figure out which episode that was and link it in the notes.
yeah, I don't know.
Link
Did
Ultimate
I
Horse
think
Fighting.
did I read those for like the Patreon or did I read those for like episodes? I think I read those.
Episodes.
Oh, we put those at the end or beginning of episodes. That's right.
They're in the beginning of episodes.
Yeah, they're somewhere in there.
We
Anyway,
did a couple for Freedom Mortgage as well.
yes, Tom had issues with a mortgage company, and then Tom had to buy a lawnmower from Lowe's like 18 times. and,
Bless. So ridiculous.
and then he had to get his money refunded and unfunded and refunded like 7 more times. And yeah, rather than commit atrocities upon the rest of society, Tom decided to take out his anger in writing. And I got to read them, and it was really fun.
So for those who don't know, this is like a therapeutic technique that I've been doing since like 2007 when I was in UConn and I had a professor and I was talking about something, that happened when I was in the service that was still rattling me. And he said, you're a good creative writer. Why don't you try to write something, like turn it into a short story, turn it into something. And I did. And I changed one aspect of the story so that I could feel like I wasn't just writing something that was nonfiction, and I fictionalized it a little bit and I wrote this whole thing. It was the first story I ever published, actually. And then I was
that the one I read?
Quite possibly.
Man, that was good. It's real good.
Yeah. So that started my I wonder if I can use writing to sort of heal kind of thought. And then I wound up using that. I got just through complete chance and circumstance, ran into a veteran in a writing group who was struggling with something. And I told him what I did. And I started working with him to do the same thing to his experience. And it turned out it helped him a lot and it worked out really well. And so I started trying to do that with veterans as much as I could that dealt with PTSD who were willing to share and who were willing to try their hand at this. And it turns out it was very helpful. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a social worker. I mean, for all I know, I could have wound up damaging people even worse. But I will say that there was a newspaper article. If you search my name and Writing for Relief, it still pops up. But I got some press for it and helped me find some more people who needed help. And for a long time, I did that. I just recently gave up my efforts. Maybe 6 months ago, I finally pulled the plug on it and was like, I don't have the time to commit to veterans like this anymore. I was volunteering a couple hours a week. And the last one I worked with was a New London submarine vet who had really one of the most screwed up stories I've ever heard in my life. Tough guy just to keep going. And I kind of gave up after I was done working with him because I hate to say it, I had to give some time back to myself and my family at some point. And that was the one thing that, when I did it, I was eating other people's grief and misery and bringing it home. And yeah, it was something to give up. But if anyone's
I was
interested,
going to say at some point when you're helping other people work through stuff, it's like unless you want to do like a really shitty job at it, like you're taking on some of that. That's more stress for you.
it was. No, it absolutely was.
Yeah, it's a huge amount.
Yeah.
Again, unless you want to be crap at that kind of job, then it probably it won't stress you out at all. Actually, you'll do fine.
As you make things worse.
Empathy, like sympathy, these silly things.
Yeah, the problem I have is that walking away from it, like now I feel guilty. Like, man, I should be helping these people. And I had the same guilt complex when I walked away from law enforcement because, the department I was in was super underfunded and undermanned, and there weren't a lot of, they needed the people that they had. And I was walking away from people I cared about, and I felt guilty about leaving that life behind me. You deal with the guilt when you walk away from a project like that, and hopefully it's less guilt than you had from all the grief you were swallowing and carrying on your shoulders. But yeah, it's like a lose-lose situation, unfortunately, and I just feel like I'm supposed to be helping people, and when I'm not, I feel worse about it. But I gotta put the mask on myself first. I'm working on that. I'm trying to get better. Down to 265. We're down about 30 pounds since November. So
Good for you.
getting healthier. I didn't lose weight as fast as you did, but
I
I
was gonna
also
say, well, that was because I only drank water and had surgery.
say I also had a little more flexibility in my
So I said my
approach.
my dieting plan is getting a heart infection.
Yeah, I don't recommend that one. Although there are some extremes who probably would do it, you know?
Well, I think I'm the opposite. I think I'm up 10 pounds since November.
Okay. All right. I finally feel good in the basketball court again. I don't have the cardio I need yet, but I'm finally shooting like I used to shoot and I'm playing like I used
Mm.
to play a little bit and it feels good just to be able to move. It's nice to jump up for a layup or for a reverse layup and actually get off the ground because I wasn't
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that very well at 290, you know?
I still don't do that. I think that's just a me problem.
Um,
Never been really good at that.
Speaking of basketball, I know this one's not going to post for another week and a half, but go Huskies playing in the championship again. Those men Huskies just,
No, they're not. I thought they lost in their Final Four matchup.
no, they won tonight. The
Oh, is
women
this the
lost. The
women's?
women
Oh, the
lost to
women.
South
Okay.
Carolina. The men beat Illinois tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I haven't paid attention at all because I'm really great.
Well, I mean, Notre Dame also got sent home kind of early, so that makes sense.
I don't know. I didn't know. I
You
literally
didn't know.
didn't. I had a moment, couple whatever it was, where I was like, "Wait, March Madness is starting soon, right?" And it was like the second round already.
So
Just been under a rock.
the Elite Eight match against Duke, my daughter and my son both sat and watched like the whole second half with me, and my littlest one came and joined me for the last few minutes. And that game was insane because UConn was down like 15 at the half, and then they were down like 10 points most of the second half, and they came
Yeah, I
back to
heard
make
they
it a
made like a
game.
19-point comeback or
Oh, it
something, and
was
then they
yeah,
hit that.
it was insane. And then Mullins hits this like 35-foot 3-point shot. They had a chance to go ahead or tie it, and they turn the ball over, and then they defend the inbound and they get the steal. And with like point 0.3 seconds left on the clock, this freshman just drills this like 33 footer. And it was just an epic way to win a game. It's probably the single greatest shot in UConn history. And then tonight they went on and destroyed Illinois. And so I think Monday they play the championship game against the winner of Arizona and Michigan, who are playing right now.
Nice. Yeah, well,
Go
the
Huskies.
bad turnover there at the end by Duke, like, he could have practically held on to the ball without trying to make the pass.
Yeah, and he should
I was
have.
gonna
There
say,
was
like, he shoulda just if he didn't have a clear shot, he should've just held on to it and,
Yep. He had
yeah.
9 seconds left. He could have held the ball for a little bit longer. They would have had to have fouled him, and they would have
Is
shot
it
some
8
free throws.
seconds to cross
Yeah.
midcourt now, or is
Yep.
it yeah,
Eight
okay, so
seconds.
yeah, they probably still would have felt the need to foul him just because of time running out,
Yeah.
and they were already up by 2, but yeah, so well, but, you still gotta make the shot anyway. They still made the comeback. People were saying, "Oh, well, Duke basically lost the game." Well,
No, UConn hit
yes.
that shot.
Well, yeah, you still that's what I'm saying, like, a team can be up and start not maintain their lead, but the other team has to
Right.
execute to cut into the lead, so it's not like nothing.
Yep.
So,
The
yeah.
other team still has to do the damn thing. Yeah. So go Huskies. Super excited.
Sorry, I'm going through some of my collecting some, jokes
Mm.
'cause I forgot to do it earlier tonight. Okay. Alright, so we got UConn out of the way. Finally, almost fell asleep.
Cross it off the list.
Right. Okay, well, I'm gonna talk about these things that just happened. They're just fun. One is literally a one-liner, so I'll do that one first. One of our daughters, her soccer coach for this season is, let's just say, obviously Scottish. And I'm gonna say it's not Irish. I'm almost 100% positive it's not Irish, having had a Scottish chemistry professor and just a little bit of additional familiarity. I think he's clearly Scottish based on his accent. And, nice guy. He actually seemed like he's doing a really good job with the kids. Like, he's doing real drills that they can handle, and, like, they actually seem like they're getting probably something out of this, which,
Nice.
you don't expect with these little spring and autumn leagues. I mean, I coached them one time and, you know, they didn't get much out of it. Let's just
Right.
say that. But my, daughter had to go to the bathroom, in the park there in the middle of practice. Okay, alright, I'll take you with. It's, like, raining, whatever, so I'm out there walking her to the to the bathroom, and she goes, "Daddy, can you believe it that I can understand him?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're 5, you're so cute." Like, this is the first time you've heard a heavy any accent, and just she's so proud of like, it's amazing. Can you believe it? I'm so smart, I can understand my coach.
Good for her.
So, I know, that was it was one of those, like, kid moments, that you just if you don't have a kid, you're like, "Okay, yeah, I guess it's kinda cute, but whatever, stupid." But if you have a kid, like, you know exactly what that moment was, like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
just pulls right at your heartstrings. The other one, the bigger news is that one of our daughters, the other one, has just gotten a palate expander from the orthodontist. Ooh,
Okay.
you made a face, you don't know what these are?
I'm envisioning one of those little plastic pieces that fits in the roof of your mouth and gradually over time stretches.
Right, no,
Okay.
metal, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they put it around 4 teeth at the top of your mouth, and there's a little, like, sort of tool that you put it in and turn, like, you actually push it, and it turns a little, like, sort of wheel or gear
It's a
that
medieval
slowly
torture device in your
basically,
child's
yes.
mouth.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just very slowly, like, spreads the top of your mouth wider so that you can, expand your palate kinda thing, and so that's been fun. We've had it for about 4 days now. I have been tasked with the expanding of the palate every night just because, it's easier for something for me to handle stuff like that,
Sure.
which also means my daughter's been poked in the mouth with this little thing twice, so sorry.
Poor
Sorry,
kid.
sweetie.
Oh, poor
But
kid.
it's you know what though? So I had one. This is part of the reason I wanted to bring it up. I had one of these when I was younger, and it sounds like just what the orthodontist said. There's huge differences. So when I got mine, I was like, I think sixth ish grade kind of age, like 10, 11 kind of thing. And I remember this sucker. Like it hurt. You put it in and had to do a turn. I thought it was every week was what I had in my memory, I'm not sure, but that sucker hurt when it turned, and that you'd feel intense pressure in your mouth for
Yeah.
an hour, 2 hours afterwards kinda deal.
It really does sound like a medieval torture device. Like a
Yeah.
I wasn't being very light when I
No,
said
I
that. I
know.
meant it.
Well, see, and that's the thing, in my head, it was once a week, maybe it was every day. Now we do it every day, and the turns are smaller than they used to be, they said too, and
Hmm.
also at her age, she's younger, they said you won't feel it as much because everything's just a little bit more flexible, looser, whatever, including your mouth. So the only time she's actually had any "ow, it hurts," about maybe 30 seconds later, she was, like, over it. And I'm just sitting here thinking, "Man, I got such a raw deal. I should have been alive a little later
Oh,
when the technology's just that much better."
I feel like I've said that multiple times.
Yeah. So those are my, like, personal dad updates for the last couple of days.
Yeah, personal dad updates here are a little bit tame. It's been
Yeah, that's
focused
good.
on Easter here now, and I've had a lot of
Mhm.
work has picked up. So my dadding time has been unfortunately a little bit later than I would like. But kids are uh kids are healthy, which I'm happy about. My wife is less healthy. We need to wrap her in bubble wrap,
Which
and
you're
that's the
unhappy
joke
about.
right now. Yep. The
Yep.
kids and I are both kind of joking around about wrapping mommy up completely in bubble wrap. In the span of about 3 days, she dropped a giant glass beer container, like a big 2 liter,
Oh,
3 liter.
no.
She dropped one of those from a top shelf onto her foot, where it shattered
Oh,
and it
no.
cut through her sock and her flip
Yep.
flop and cut a chunk out of her toe that I kid you not looks
What?
like almost a nickel sized chunk of meat all the way to the bone on the side of the toe. So I was going to take her to the ER, and there's nothing left for them to stitch. There's no tissue there to join because she cut it so huge. So she's just got this thing like wrapped up and gauzed up, and yeah, went from running a
So
marathon to that.
so are we just gonna have, like, 9.5 toes
Yeah,
then
she
for the
she
rest of
really
our
might.
lives,
Yeah, I don't know
basically?
how it's gonna
Okay.
grow back in or if. So we'll see how that shapes up. I don't know, but it's gonna be a
Well,
real
you could
funky
inject
looking
some
toe.
octopus into her.
There you go. Yeah, there you
I've
go.
talked about that. That was not meant to be a weird reference, I meant literally inject some
He
octopus
did.
into
He
her to
meant
see.
literally.
Yeah.
And then like 2 days later, she's walking around and steps on this tiny little plastic disc, and it shatters and like cuts this deep gouge, like a perfect circle in the bottom of her foot. And she had that plus a nice slice there, so that was helpful.
I would say same foot
I think it was
or
the
other
same
foot?
foot. I think it's the bottom of the same foot.
You
Yeah,
tell her,
so
"You need to
she's doing
bless this
great.
foot."
My poor wife is doing great. And I can't keep that woman healthy, and it's anyway. So parenting dad roles are all doing fine.
I really hope abusive
Husbanding not so
husbands
much.
aren't listening, by the way, because you're just giving them real good ideas to just cover up things.
Oh
Oh yeah,
gosh.
she dropped a beer stein.
Yeah, you joke about that, but tonight Alex started
Ugh.
talking to me about when I was a police officer. And she said,
Oh
Dad,
yeah.
what was the hardest case you ever had to solve? What was the hardest mystery you ever had to solve? And then what was the easiest one you ever had to solve? And which one made you maddest? Like she's asking me all these questions, right? And she's never
Yeah, real like hard hitting questions too
yeah,
that like
yeah.
she's
And this
not
is
she's
she
not
never
gonna like forget these responses tomorrow either.
right. So I have to be
Yeah.
careful what I say, right? And
Ugh.
I wind up I don't remember how we got there, but she asked me which ones bothered me the most. And I think she was looking for me to tell her some horrific story, like maybe where the kid murdered his mother or the suicide with the shotgun my third night on midnight shift or like I think she's trying to fish for one of these really grotesque, really awful, bloody stories. And I said, honestly, honey, the hardest ones for me to work on were the domestic cases where people were hurting their kids. And she said, well, what does domestic mean? And I was like, oh, shoot, I opened this whole can of worms. So I had to start explaining to her that, domestic family violence, family crime, all the implications of it. And I didn't go down the sort of pedo road, thank God. She didn't ask enough questions where I had to start explaining anything like that. But we went down this whole violence thing. And so now I'm trying to explain to my daughter about domestic violence. And like that was such an awkward conversation. And yeah, that was a hard one to have. That one kind of set me back a little bit. That was just this evening. I don't remember what you said that got me on that train. Something you said.
Oh, well, here I am to remind you again. This happens to us every so often. You're like, "Yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about this."
Yeah,
I'm like,
that
"I'll
seems
tell
like
you
me.
why."
Yeah.
Well, because you were talking about all the
Oh,
ways your wife is getting hurt, and
yes.
I'm like, "Well, hopefully you're not giving anybody any ideas."
Yes. So I
Yeah.
explained this domestic thing, right? And she looks we're pulling into the driveway afterward. It was just me and her in the car. The other kids were with Bridget coming home from an Easter thing. And and I finished explaining this to her and she goes, "Daddy, do you remember when you joked about wrapping mommy in bubble wrap and getting her a big helmet?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "Is that so that no one thinks you're committing domestic crimes against mommy?" It's like, "Oh god." I hadn't thought about that, but it wouldn't be a bad idea.
See, I was gonna say, look, take a picture every day of her in bubble wrap
Yeah.
and be like, "It wasn't me.
Yep. And I
I
was
didn't
talking
do
to
it."
someone about this last week who suggested it. He said, "Well, what would you do? Would you get a helmet for your wife or would you wrap her in bubble wrap?" And I said, "Well, if I got her a helmet, like somebody would have to wrap me in bubble wrap because she'd beat the hell out of me.
I was
She wouldn't take that very well."
she would headbutt you with the
Yeah.
helmet.
And so he laughed and he's like, "Well, after she wrapped you in bubble wrap, would she pop it and have fun like popping the bubbles?" I said, "No, she'd wrap it around my face and she'd just hold it in place for a while." And he didn't realize I was trying to say she would smother me. Like it took him a minute, and it was an interesting conversation to watch that finally catch in his head. And he was like, "Man, you're kind of dark." I was like,
You're
"Yeah,
gonna
kind of."
what is wrong with you? Basically.
Yeah.
Ah.
So that was fun. So husbanding, I think I'm failing in the husbanding. Can't keep the wife safe. Dadding, we're doing all right. We had parent teacher conferences and the kids are all doing well. And yeah, there's really nothing else I can complain about. So dadding, we're doing okay.
Mm.
I'm currently in that place where I need to start balancing my work life with my family life again. And that's with the uptick of stuff at work. It's tough to find that balance. And I'm struggling to get back to that point where I have that. So hopefully
Yeah.
we can step Bridget's hours back soon and she can have more home time and then I won't feel quite as guilty when I can't.
When sh when she hurts herself.
That's what I'm afraid of, is that I'm gonna miss more time out of work, so I'm gonna get a phone call, "I dropped this chainsaw on my foot. I need you to come take me to the hospital," you know? Uh, we'll see.
Mm.
Alright,
Anyway,
back down the
I
list?
was I was gonna say, yeah, thank you for listening to our daddy rambles.
We didn't even do
Yeah,
an
let's
introduction today, did we? Goodness.
no, not really. I mean, it was the horse thing.
Yeah, the horse thing.
Oh, yeah, one more thing. Tom is older now.
Oh, I
So,
am. It's true.
I meant to ask you about this last week, but it happened to be right around that time. So you're, like, 45 now, right?
44 going on about 72. Yeah.
That's not good. I was trying to upshoot you by at least 2 years, insult you, but apparently not.
Well, if I hadn't lost his weight recently, then, you probably would've got it right, but it's a little
You would have
deceptive.
been cranky.
I'm down 30 pounds, a
Been
little bit of trim in the face, like 6 loops in my belt. Yeah, it makes me look at least a year younger.
oh, that's actually there's some stuff about that now actually where apparently, like, having a little extra weight does age you slightly faster. It,
I believe
obviously other things can factor into that, like buses and those other things that I said might run you over that one time, but
at
but
one time.
yeah. Yeah, let's start going down the list. Let's get into some like actual real topics. Do you want to start with the Everest fraud? Like just go right down because I did. I will admit when I typed this up, I kind of went reverse. Like the stuff that we said each other, I just kind of started going up and typing them that way. So we could start at the bottom and
Sure.
go the other way.
Yeah. So let's do
You
the.
said.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get a link for this, and we'll do the TLDR on this. The real short story on this is that for the last several years, and I forget how many years it was in the study. I think it was like 4 or 5 years. Tour guides at Mount Everest who have been paid to, when foreigners come in, they want to climb Mount Everest, they want to make this big life goal. Literal companies in Nepal have been intentionally poisoning foreign tourists trying to climb Mount Everest so that they have to trigger an aerial evacuation, an air med rescue to make an extra somewhere in the neighborhood of like $20 million is in insurance fraud. They're literally
I thought that
intentionally poisoning people.
wasn't that the total up to this point that they think wasn't each trip like 10 or 20,000 or something though?
I forget what the number was. 20 million was the total. It's the total
Yeah.
over like 3 or 4 years. And I feel like there was somewhere, what am I doing? Mount Everest guides have been accused of secretly drugging foreign climbers to trigger expensive aerial evacuations as part of a $20 million American insurance fraud scheme, according to an investigation by the Nepali police. So this is coming from their own local police. Operators of mountain rescue companies in Nepal have been arrested as part of the police operation. A total of 32 people have been charged, 11 arrests made so far. The scale appears to have affected 4,782 international climbers between 2022 and 2025. More than 300 cases of alleged fake rescues have been uncovered, with bills totaling almost $20 million charged to climbers and insurers.
It's amazing. So my first thought when I was reading through this was why is it saying foreign climbers? Like
Because they're
why
not
can't it
doing it
just
to
be
locals.
well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say why not everybody? But then I thought, well, okay, locals, it's your own people. Usually you like look out for each other, like from a lot of, nationalistic kind of standpoints. But then also I figured that it's much easier to investigate with locals. They're still around, they recover, people start poking around more when the locals are happening. But, you know, an American gets sick and it's like, stupid American probably shoved a hot dog down like before we started climbing or something like that. Like people would be much more happy to make it up or just be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
They're just visiting. So that's probably why they picked them. They probably selected people because they figured it's like they won't miss them
Yeah.
kind
Well,
of
and
kind of
also with
reasoning.
with the locals, word of mouth gets around, and it's harder to keep that under wraps. And the way they
Right.
did this was smart. Like, they laced their food with things like baking powder
Right.
because that stimulates, digestive issues that they could then say, no, that's from altitude sickness. Then they
Right.
gave them medications to like help them bloat with excessive water. And as soon as they started saying that they were dizzy or they weren't feeling well, they're like, "Oops, sorry, we have to descend." And they would pile these 3 or 4 people into a helicopter. And then when they went to go bill the insurance, they would do it as though each one took their own helicopter. So you're
Oh,
charging them
really? I
for
didn't know
4 trips
I
instead
didn't
of
see that
1.
part when I looked through it.
Yeah. They faked
Oh,
flight
man.
records and medical documents and travel itineraries.
You
I mean,
get greedy. Don't get greedy,
yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Just drug the people and be done with it. Don't try to, like, roll them all up into individual trips.
Yep. There was one quote in here that I thought was absolutely spot on, dead on for the world. "When there is no action against crime, it flourishes." Boom. That one line, I feel like the world needs to just absorb that and fucking believe it. Because that's what we're seeing everywhere right now is that people aren't getting punished for shit and haven't been for a long time. And look what's happening. Crime
Well,
is
it's
flourishing.
incentives.
Yeah.
Again, if you're a parent, you understand what incentives do
Mhm.
when there's a reason to do it. I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just the crime, it's the opposite. I mean, that's what people are finally coming around on the big thing with student loans. Like, student loans have been crushing people for decades, but people are finally turning around and going, "Well, wait a minute.
Yep.
If the government stops giving out money, the college's fees come down and you have fewer loans and yada, yada, yada." Like, it's just, my father actually said one time, one of those quotes you don't forget from your own dad.
Mhm.
He said, "When the government subsidizes it, you get more of it." And that's all he said. And at first it was like, well, duh, because there's more money. But it's like, oh, there's more money. Like, so just think about that. Do you want more of it? Then let the government subsidize it.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were piling multiple people into the same helicopter, though.
Yep.
I've just got this image of a bunch of people like puking on each other as they're going down the mountain.
Oh, I
You
came
know,
to Mount Everest and all I got was vomit and scammed.
one of the I think I was reading something like months and months ago now where people were saying, yeah, Everest is hard to climb, because it's dangerous and cold and, physically exhausting. And they mentioned something about how, and like some percentage of people get sick, from like the altitude and the, energy expenditure and stuff like that. And then this came out and I went, oh, maybe that should be a lot smaller on the
Mhm.
percentages. I wonder how many people who maybe they honestly believed it too. Maybe they were like, "Man, something in the air just got to me up there." And then they read this and they're like, "Well, shit. Like, now I need to go try again."
Yeah, well, and you know what?
Maybe I squandered.
So many people die in their attempt to climb Everest.
I
I
know.
wonder how many of those are actually because someone did something like this and they had a strong reaction or they refused to come down the mountain and their body was weakened. Like, has this actually contributed to deaths? I would have to think if they've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, there's a good chance it contributed to someone's actual death.
I mean, can you prove it though? Because you've got to what
Right.
go retrieve some of those bodies and autopsy them and all that, and a lot of them are not retrievable. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, well, that's the real problem here is a clever like prosecution to create the theoretical case here. A clever prosecutor could sort of paint the picture of there's a non-zero chance they've actually murdered people, even on
Right.
accident, like manslaughter with
Yeah.
this, and they would know with the conditions are already trepidatious,
That
so
reminds
this
me of
is
there's a
aggressive.
story breaking in the Netherlands right now. Did you see the story about the man who threw the chair at the judge in the Netherlands courtroom?
No, that just seems like a regular day in New York though, right?
Yeah, this one was a little bit different though. The man wasn't on trial. What happened was in 2013, there was a motorist in the Netherlands who was driving 120 kilometers in an 80-kilometer highway. So he was doing 50% over the speed limit, and
That's a fair
he
amount.
he struck and killed 3 people on the side of the road,
Yuck.
two cyclists and a girl who was walking. One of them was this gentleman's daughter, the gentleman in the courtroom with the chair. So he was there as this man was going through what is essentially a vehicular manslaughter trial. The gentleman who drove the car and killed 3 people was found guilty recently. He was charged 120 hours of community service and 2 years of probation because their threshold of proof, they couldn't prove that him driving at that reckless speed was actually a cause of the death or contributed to the death. They had a study they had some sort of precedent that said 130 kilometers an hour is not fast enough to cause a vehicle to jerk uncontrollably, out of someone's control. And so 140 kilometers an hour, they can't say is fast enough to do it since 130 is not. So according to their threshold, they could not determine that him driving and speeding recklessly was enough of a contributor that he would have killed these people if he wasn't also driving the speed limit. And for some reason, like this affects how they sentence him. So ultimately, they gave him this very light sentence of 120 community service hours.
Where's the cutoff? I mean, I'm sorry, I'll keep listening, but like,
Yeah.
where's the cutoff then? If it's 130, then it's not 140.
What is it? Right.
Then right,
Where
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 does
do you
that line
stop?
stop?
Where
Yep.
is it 163? Like, what is it? Like
Yep. His total punishment was 120 hours community service. His license was suspended for a year and 2
3
years of
weeks.
probation, and that's all he got. The
I was
dad
gonna say, I got half of that for doing nothing.
Yep. So the dad in the
Well, not
courtroom
nothing.
was there for the sentencing, and he
Oh,
literally
man.
took a chair and hurled it at the judge, and the judge, managed to duck it because you see that one coming. But the man was detained. He was escorted out of the courtroom, and the big kind of, I don't want to say joke, but like
Harsher penalty for that.
yeah, if he'd have been found guilty of aggravated assault with a chair, if the judge had gotten cut or bruised or hurt significantly, he would have actually gotten the same sentence or worse as the guy got with his car for
For
running these
killing 3
people over.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's really interesting. It's a neat story. It's just developing recently. The actual crash was like 2013 or 2014, but it all just kind of finally came to a head recently. And it's all about that threshold of proof that you talked about. You have to prove a specific cause and you have to prove it to a certain point. And when you can't do that, punishments become light. And it's It's one of those cases where justice is not the same as the law. It just doesn't feel like those two are equal in these cases.
Yeah, well, and this to me, well, so this kind of case is a good case, pun intended, for like manslaughter
Mm.
and charges like that, where even if it's r- not really your fault per se, or sort of like it's still your fault, like it was still happened on your watch, kind of reasoning.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I was younger, I used to sort of be in that situation of eh, not that character doesn't matter, but that like past history and things like that should not factor into any particular legal proceeding because we're only talking about what happened here,
Oh, I
you
think
know.
they should absolutely factor into sentencing, though.
Well, right. And so but that's my point is so then you have a case like this where okay, maybe you have some proof that, you know, the car would careen out of control at this speed or not this speed or whatever, and then you're getting into, well, was it really this guy's fault? And to me, that's where you sit there and you say, well, how many times has this guy gotten in trouble? How many other things are tacked on to here? Like, what is the character? Because, someone who has a bad character is going to keep finding themselves in situations like this, probably. The odds are high. If you have no past, then yeah, you actually probably give someone a lighter sentence for something like this. It probably is more likely an accident, or at least you don't have proof that it, wasn't really their negligence per se. Like, or it was, something a regular person might do. And that's not now I'm like fully on the I'm just saying I'm fully on the other side of the fence now. You hear a situation like this and it's like, well, let's pretend he didn't do it, but how many times has this guy been in handcuffs? If it's more than 3, now this guy is a danger. This was not an accident per se.
Yeah. It's a pattern of behavior at some point, and at some point, if someone's got that pattern of behavior, you need to put them away longer and end it. You gotta break that cycle.
I think I mentioned it one time too. This is again why I'm literally Aristotelian in my ethics personally, but Aristotle literally said in so many words that if someone has made enough choices throughout their life, they're conditioned to where they literally cannot make another choice other than the bad one,
Mhm.
it's still their fault. That particular choice is still their fault because they laid the groundwork to turn themselves into that where that person could not do anything else. Because someone tried to propose to him, what about the person who, the career criminal who just sees an opportunity to steal something and they just can't help themselves and they steal it? Is that still their fault? And he was like, yeah, like
Yep,
because
sure
he did
is.
all the previous decisions that he kind of believed in that you're morphing yourself with every little decision.
Yeah,
So to me, this is that kind of thing. This guy probably didn't mean to kill these people, but he was driving like an idiot, almost certainly.
yeah,
So guess what? He just didn't kill anybody yet. Now he did. That's really all this is. How many other times was he driving like an idiot before this?
I agree 100%.
Good talk.
Good talk.
Arguing with stupid people.
Trying to pull up that video now.
Oh, that one. Yeah. I'm not even sure if it's a real topic, but uh, should we just argue with each other and just make that the segment?
I mean, I don't know which of us would be the intelligent one.
Exactly. We're not even sure.
Uh,
I don't know. It's funny. We should probably just link it and skip that one. Because everyone knows the Mark Twain quote. And by everyone, I mean, I don't know if everyone actually knows that, but
all right.
it gets around.
We'll just cut this part out. Tomato, 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 and I'll just put that clip up somewhere. We'll just share that on social media.
Okay.
That'll be funsies.
Should I pull up Lion King?
Yeah.
Because I had it. I think I had it. All right. Don't give me that yuck. Where is it? It's here. It's earlier. Doop, doop, doop. Here it is. Once again, easier to just read. Okay, so comedian Learnmore Janassi got served with a $27 million lawsuit from Disney while he was performing on stage because he made a Lion King joke. Now, here's a more full description. Janassi was on a U.S. tour, just doing a comedy tour, and he made a joke about the Lion King's Circle of Life chant, and it has it here. I'm gonna try to read, but "Nots in yon biagdi baba." I can't even say it right. It says he said that it actually translates to something like look, there's a lion. Oh my god. And that's the joke.
Saw this
Instead
clip
of
on YouTube.
yeah, instead of the deeper meaning that, you know, that it means. And so again, I hate these names. Lebohang Merake?
You
You
hate
might
these
even
names. Oh, that sounds
you
racist to
might
me.
yeah, well, you know what? Spiel it, beater, guys. So he's known professionally as Labo M, and he was the composer and original performer of that chant in Lion King. So he files this lawsuit in March of this year, claiming that it wasn't just harmless, but a misrepresentation that damaged the cultural value of his work, harmed his reputation, and interfered with existing commercial relationships, including potential Disney royalties. And he's seeking $27 million in damage. He argues that Janassi presented his comedic interpretation in a way that some audience members took seriously, and that this allegedly lowered the perceived cultural value and artistic integrity of the chant. The legal filing says the translation misled people about the song's meaning and resulted in causing him financial harm. Go. I mean, I could say what Janassi said. He didn't mean to harm anybody. He posted on social media that he was served the lawsuit. He's launched a GoFundMe to cover legal fees, yada, yada, yada. He admires the work and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I got nothing. I thought his clip was funny, but I also thought he was serious. So you know, I don't know. I guess they've got a point.
I mean, okay. When did Lion King come out?
Oh gosh,
All of these.
1990-ish.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. June 24th, 1994.
Okay.
So this is now a 32-year-old, almost 32-year-old movie.
Well, the live action was more recent, and I think they used that same song in the live action. And a big part of the marketing pitch on that one was that they were going to do it cultural justice, and they were going to cast, you know, African American and African singers and voice actors. So a big part of the newer one, which is probably about 10 years old, it's got to be less. It's got to be like 4 or 5. That
Yeah, I
one,
seem to remember that being Mufasa the Lion King live action photorealistic, December 20th, 2024.
nope, not that one, not the Mufasa one, just the live action Lion King. It's going to be probably
Oh, yeah,
2021-ish,
Google is not.
2022-ish.
You know, you just look at live action Lion King.
But there was a huge talk for the marketing and the production of that one.
2019 is what
There you
this
go.
one
Yep.
says, maybe.
And that one was the big focus was on making it more, you know, instead of casting all these white voice actors to play the parts, they were going to be more culturally sensitive. And like that was a huge part of what that movie pushed.
Oh, yeah, like how they switched Mufasa to James Earl Jones. Oh, wait.
Well, Elton John and Beyonce had like a fight over this topic because Elton John said, you know, the music isn't as good as it was for the original. Granted, he's a little biased, but he came out and said, yeah, it was kind of cool, but the music wasn't as good as the original. And then Beyonce came out with someone else and they basically said, yeah, sorry, you're a racist. Like that was their response to him. And it
Well,
was like,
yeah.
whoa, hold on. A does not equal B here. But that was a big deal. So when it comes to the live action one, I actually see the point and I get it. Because that was a big part of the branding of that movie and the theme and the identity of that movie.
Now, apparently Seth Rogen got to be Pumbaa, so the
Yeah.
like the pothead character got
The
to
goofy
be
pothead
the
gassy
pothead
character.
actor. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, the only two white people in the cast here are Timon and Pumbaa. Figures. See, okay, so no, hard pass. Okay, so here, maybe you can answer this for me because I just saw the thing, kind of laughed at it, said maybe we should talk about this, sent it to you, and moved on. I did not lose any sleep over this. So is the thing that that Janassi made the joke about, is that only in this newer, a couple years old Lion King,
No,
or is it
it's
from?
that
I thought it
same
was,
song as from the
yeah,
first one. Yeah.
from the very. So no, this is a 32-year-old movie. Everybody freaking knows about it. It was made. It was supposed to be second fiddle to Pocahontas, and then it came out and just destroyed everything and like was the huge bestseller. The soundtrack for the movie has gone platinum, right? Like they
Oh,
sold
yeah.
50 million copies of that like over a decade ago or something. Like the songs have been completely widespread, more than maybe any other animated movie ever in history,
Yeah, it
for
might be. Yep.
multiple decades.
Yep.
So, no, I'm sorry, you don't get to act like this is impinging on something or hurting you financially or whatever. the only reason he can even make a claim is that because everybody fucking knows about it. And now he's like, oh well, people don't know the translation, but you've reached some level of acclaimed success just from this being out there. Like the people are still buying it, even if they think it's a silly translation. It's not. People aren't going to sit there and go, well, no, I'm not going to buy it.
See, that's the thing
You've already
though, is
bought it.
that with Disney, it's a little bit different because yeah, the original movie is old and it's it's 30 years old and it's been around and everyone knows it, but
I
it gets
can't wait to show my
rediscovered.
kids this movie, but I can't quite yet because there's some like
Oh, my
there's
kids have
some
seen my kids
there's
have
some
seen Lion
there's
King
some
multiple
well,
times.
we have one who would not be able to handle it,
Sure. But that's my
and
point.
not
But
the 2-year-old.
that's my
That's what I'm
point. Like
saying.
you want to show this to your kids
Like
and you're excited
there
that when
are
they're old enough
real
to see.
life lessons here, like
Right.
real things in here.
Right.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing is that this is a brand that gets rediscovered by entire new generations over and over and over again. And in a world right now that cares about diversity in a way that it hasn't before, whether it's right or wrong, and you want to make whatever argument there, like the world does care about diversity and authenticity in these ways and cultural impact. And so if kids are going to see this YouTuber clip before they see the movie for the first time, Disney's losing out on revenue for whole generations going forward that see this movie and think it's all fake and think it's not doing justice. If they're not, the kids aren't going to connect with it the same way as they would if they thought it was authentic, especially if they're from a background or a culture that would identify with the Lion King. Entire new generations over the next 10, 20, 30 years are going to watch these movies, and some of them will bond over it because of their heritage, of their racial understanding of things. Stuff like this takes away from that, and it might cut Disney's revenue in that regard. It really might. I don't know. I think
Oh,
there's a
those
good
poor
case.
Disney babies losing the
That's
revenue on
besides
a
the point.
30-year-old movie that's
And I
maybe their
agree
most
with you,
successful movie of all time.
but it's a 0-year-old movie and a brand new movie to all these future generations of kids. It gets
Okay, and
rediscovered and
every
it's
future
brand new.
generation of kids,
But
everything
not
is
every
0 years
movie
old.
but not every movie is generational. Most Disney movies are generational because we feed them to kids over and over and over again over the years.
Right.
Most kids are not gonna see a lot of the B movies I grew up loving, like Boondock Saints. If I didn't love it, my kids would probably never see it. My kids will probably never see Suicide Kings, a movie that I love that no one else has seen. Push and Jumper. These are movies that my kids may not ever watch, but every kid watches Lion King. It gets rediscovered generationally. So if Disney loses some level of authenticity with one of their movies, kind of like Bluey, kind of like Blue's Clues, maybe, all these things that get recycled and fed back to new kids, it's like a new release and it opens a brand new revenue for them, a brand new market of money that could go Disney's way one day. We saw it when we went to Disney World. My kid wanted a Simba. That was the one stuffy he wanted. And then that was his big deal. It's
Hold on,
Hold on a
Tom's
sec.
listening to something.
Hold on a sec.
Okay. We will wait.
Pause this. Tomato,
Uh,
tomato, tomato. We've got some cleaning up to
yeah.
do there.
Now see, now the recording's gonna hear that tomato, 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 and it's gonna think about taking out your whole last explanation because you paused it.
That's all right.
So we'll have to figure it out.
I gotta back up a
Anyway,
couple of steps anyway, so it's fine. But my whole
okay.
point is that
All right,
in this
Tom's gonna
case, I
back
think
up here, and then I'm gonna comment on me and Tom.
that's my point here is that I've seen it with my own kids where it's not like any other movie, most adult movies that we watch that aren't gonna be seen the same way. Disney is kind of timeless, and when kids watch it, entire new generations latch onto it, and it creates a revenue stream. I mean, there are kids today who have Tigger and Winnie the Pooh crap all over their cars, and Lilo and Stitch stuffed animals and wallpaper and sheets, and they're teenagers. Like kids are connecting with these brands way after they've been released. So if you do something that affects that authenticity from a young age with this kid, if you've got a black family watching this and the parents are telling their kids, "Hey, this is a special movie, this is a little bit different." And the kids, they'll connect with it differently if they think it's authentic and connected to their roots than they will if they don't. I think that's a real thing. So, no, I don't think 27 million is a good number. I think that's stupid and ridiculous and just Disney trying to get everything they can. But I do think that from a strategic business sense and a damages sense, it does make a lot of sense to me to say, no, this guy's doing actual damage to our brand and he's costing us actual future revenue streams. I think that makes sense.
So here's the thing, Tom. I feel weird,
Well,
and
that's
the
not good.
reason the reason, well, yeah,
Have you
that's
tried
true.
going potty?
Yes,
Okay.
not recently, but
I want you to scratch it until you have like a sneeze that feels better. Turn your camera
that
off, mute your camera.
that would mute your camera.
Yeah, mute your camera. I don't want to see those sounds, okay?
I Well, now I feel weirder, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
The reason I feel weird is because for starters, I thought this was gonna be kind of one of those, "Oh, okay, apparently we kind of have the same line of reasoning on this and let's be done." And that's clearly not the case here. What the reason I also feel weird about this is because I feel like I'm the one who's saying those rich bastards shouldn't keep hoarding more of their money, which is very not Republican of me, to be fair. Like, if we go with, like, caricature, terrible Republican, I should be like, "Ah, yes, let them keep their cigars and keep smoking them," and all that stuff. Ye but I'm also annoyed at said rich person for being like, it's the opposite. You're basically defending the rich people with all the money anyway.
I kind of am, yeah, and I
And
feel sick about that too.
that's not very middle of the road for you either. That's not very centrist of you either, I don't think.
I'm not a
So
real centrist. I'm not really in the center about many things. I'm just on the left about some things and on the right about some things. I'm really not very in the center about a lot of
right, so
things.
it balances out, so there you
Yeah,
go.
I just don't drink either one of the Kool-Aids all the way, so I'm left in the middle drinking Tang going, "This doesn't taste that good."
See, so here's my thing. I I will agree that when you have a truly revolutionary product, you have to have some guardrails around it. Like, no one else can open another Disney World, if you will, because that's to me that would be some version of infringement because you're trying to sort of own something that's already owned by somebody else. I mean, I think another Disney World would probably f- flop compared to the current thing anyway. But I can sort of understand those guardrails. But this has been part of the public record, if you will, the public knowledge for decades. And how many people have made far worse jokes or even just like, far worse things. This guy's only getting it because it was on a YouTube video and has a little bit of reach. But to me, this is a guy who's already made his money or maybe had a bum deal from earlier. Maybe he's not earning royalties on something that I really wished he was. And he's just trying to snap back now and he sees an opportunity to get something out of it. I don't know. I'm not accusing, I'm just spitballing here. I see someone who had some major success in a major movie, and rather than try to continue that success, he's just trying to hold on to it and continue leeching off of it. And in a way, this other guy is using his own art, his own craft, his own line of work, which is comedy, to try to make his own living. And this guy's trying to sort of butt in and say, no, 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 you can't do that. To me, if he tried to actually create a new Lion King song on stage and maybe make money off of it outside of his routine, like create his own little like, "Hey, here's a soundtrack of songs I've done on stage," and one of them was very similar to the Lion King song. Okay, now you have something where maybe, you know, you can argue that you're using a spin-off of your own song to make money. But this is just him using his own brand, his own comedy about something that everybody knows. It would be stupid to tell a joke about some random ass movie that nobody knows anymore. Lion King is something everybody knows, so that's a good topic for a comedian to go off of. So that's why I think this is kind of like HOA Karen level kind of nitpicking by this guy. He should just go away and be thankful that a comedian can tell a silly joke and everyone recognizes the subject because he was a part of that.
Well, that's part of the problem, though, is that if you watch the video, did you watch the one where he does this explanation and he says it? Have you
No.
seen him actually? So if you watch it, he's not joking. Like, he does not look like he's joking. He looks like he is dead serious, translating,
Okay.
saying, "Do you guys know what that song means?" And they're like, "Well, no." And they said, "It means, look over there, the lion. Oh my gosh, the lion." And that's what it means. And they're like, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, that's what it means." And so one of them goes, "So it's really just, hey, a lion, look at the lion." He says, "Yeah, it's that. And then look over there at the lion again. That's what it means." He's
Okay.
not doing it as a joke. He's doing it as like he's factually translating this.
Well, and let's
And
pretend that that's true then. So are you gonna butt your head into every barbecue where the Lion King comes up?
no, but what I'm saying is he's not doing it as a joke on something that's known as a part of pop culture. He's actually lying about this intellectual property
Lioning?
of Disney. He's lying about it. This is
There's another
slang.
main joke in here.
Yeah, there is another main joke in here, but I wouldn't take any pride in it. So what he's really doing here is slander, libel. I don't know. I don't know which one's more appropriate, but realistically, he's
Is
lying about
he
a brand.
though?
Yes,
Or
because
is
he's
he
passing it as a fact and he's besmirching it, saying it's not as culturally significant as they make it sound to be. And he's actually slandering this product that you keep saying, we keep saying it's 30 years old, but it's really not 30 years old. They've got new TV series and Broadway musicals and a whole part of the animal kingdom that I was in a couple of weeks ago and live musicals. It's an ongoing and evolving brand. The Lion Guard has a bunch of seasons now. My kids still watch it. There are side character shows. Like the Lion King is still very
okay.
flourishing and very live and evolving. So I think
Now
he's
here's the
technically
trick though.
slandering us.
No,
Or libel. I
to
don't know which
slant.
one is more appropriate.
Well, it would be slander. Speech is slander, writing is libel.
Is that
But
really all that
in
delineates that?
more or
I thought it
less,
was like an
I think
intentional
there's
lie versus a malicious. I
no,
thought that
no.
was
So
something. Okay.
no slander. Well, so it's yes, the slander and libel are generally the same, but slander is speech
Okay.
and libel is writing because speech is different from
Sure.
journalism, for example, or whatever.
Yep.
But I believe in both cases of libel and slander, it's not just that you had to say a wrong thing; it's that knowingly you had to knowingly lie. So you can't just be like some
Sounds like
jacket.
he did.
Well, okay, you have to know it's a lie, still proliferate the lie, and I think you have to prove some sort of like malice, some sort of intent to harm.
Is it malice or is it just damage? I feel
I
like it's just damage.
I don't think it's damage. I think it has to be actual intent to harm, or maybe this is one of the spots where it switches. But I'm pretty sure with a lot of those cases, most of the time when I've read on this, it's in libel. To be fair, I'm less familiar with slander, but
Okay.
I think you have to find some proof or at least some beyond a reasonable doubt that the person was intending this to harm. So some jackass at a barbecue saying, "Oh yeah, I think it just means like, oh my god, look at the lion." Like that doesn't count because that's just an idiot who doesn't know any better. You
So
would
okay,
have
so I
to
pulled it up. I was
prove
curious.
that he'd have to actually be like hoping that this actually hurts them by doing it
It,
publicly.
slander is spoken false statements that harm someone's reputation. It's that simple.
Okay, but what about legal? Like you can say what the definition is. You know, like if you're bringing this to court, you're bringing a lawsuit. How do you actually get the money?
Oh, it doesn't say that. I didn't go into that.
That's what I mean. I think when you actually go into the what this is,
But in this
I think
case, I think
usually they
that's
want
the
to
easiest part of this because you can go ahead and you can show that what he's doing is damaging your cultural authenticity with a huge group of people that are your
right. But
customers.
does slander have a manslaughter section where you can hurt but just on accident?
You don't have to hurt.
Because
All you have to do is harm a reputation, and that's exactly what he's doing, is harming the reputation of this brand. He's saying, "This
see,
is not culturally authentic. They're lying to you. This is not really anything culturally important and African. This is not meaningful. This is literally just someone saying, 'Hey, look at a lion,' and that's a lie." So it's a lie, and it's affecting the cultural significance of probably the
does
most recognizable song in the whole brand. I think this qualifies.
here's my thing, and maybe this is why I'm on the side of the fence that I'm on. Well, there's two reasons that I think I'm on the side of the fence that I'm on. One reason is that when you have rights over something, you don't get to hold on to it forever. I mean, now if you're Disney, you do, and apparently you can do it even to the point of it being kind of like illegal. In some of the stuff they've done, they've just
Yeah.
bull moosed their way through things legally because they have the money and they can, and they're Disney. They're not just your regular Joe Schmo. But I've been on this side of the fence. I have something patented. Now there's a clock. In X number of years, other people could just do whatever they want with it, and I can't say boo about it, even if I caught it. So there is a side of me that sits there and say, no, 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 Disney, you don't get to like have these special powers. You've been making money, oodles of money off of this thing for decades now, and this is one of your many money makers. Screw you. Like these people are making a live action Moana that's just word for word the original. Like you can't come up with anything new, and you've been making a butt ton of money. Next thing is, and I think this is what's really ticking me off about this is this to my perspective, this is a Streisand effect. I don't even like know about this comedian hardly anything about him. I've heard the name before. That's about it. I now know more about this comedian because of the lawsuit that got brought against him.
Yeah.
So to me, this guy's making a big fuss about something, and that's the only reason I even know about it is because he's making a big fuss about it. So that's another reason why I don't think you should get your money at all, because I never would have heard this and it never would have affected my view of anything. And yeah, we've got a new age of 10-year-olds discovering Lion King for the first time. Well, I discovered Lion King 30 years ago, bitch, and I've been through this road before. You've gotten my money, so enjoy it.
Yeah, but that's just you. See,
And
I saw
but
this
you're
clip
gonna
of him
get my
doing this
money.
way before there
But
was a
see,
suit involved.
here's the thing though. Your point is valid. There's always new audiences, there's new generations of, customers coming into play here.
Yeah.
But the new generation of customers, they're not really coming because your 7-year-old was just poking around on YouTube and found the full feature Lion King on there and liked it. They're coming because you liked it when you were a kid when it came out, and you're showing it to their kids. And you're bringing your kids to Disney World and having them experience that. Then the kids are wanting to buy the stuffed animals and the extra features and go see the live Broadway stage and all that stuff. Lion King is popular with each successive generation because of the previous generation loving it so much they wanted to share it with them.
I don't think
That's the
that's true.
magic of something like Lion that to me, that's the magic of something like Lion King. Like you said, Boondock Saints. Your kids are only gonna see it because you like it. But guess what? If enough people like you like it, then enough people in the next generation see it and like it, and it keeps going. Disney has that literal magic from a money-making publicity, like, art sense. They've made so many things that have been around for decades and generations, and they've been around that way because they keep getting shown to each generation of kids because the previous generation liked them and thought they were worth showing. They didn't just happen to luck out because every single generation of 7 to 10-year-olds magically found them on their own each time. They lucked out because people like me and my wife are sitting there going, "You know what? This is a good movie to show them. It's age appropriate, it exposes them to a couple of things, and, like, it's a softer delivery, and I liked it when I was a kid." They have that. Snow White isn't still popular just because some jackass is filing a lawsuit every 50 years. It's popular because it's literally a 100-year-old movie that's just a good movie and exposes kids to real world things like evil. So, that's why.
And I would disagree with you because you keep saying the words "lucking out" and watching these old movies, and I don't think that's what this is. I think
That's what I'm
Disney
saying, they're not lucking out. That's my point. They're
but I
not
think
lucking
what
out at
you're
all. They've made this great thing that does make it so, "Oh, we haven't seen this face in a long time.
I
Tom's
haven't been
annoyed with me,
interrupted
guys."
like 5 words into every sentence in a long time. We're
Only been twice in a row this time.
No,
Well,
it's been for the last 15, 20 minutes, Douglas.
no, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
You left once.
I had to go
Okay,
make sure it
fine.
wasn't someone breaking into my house. They're not lucking out, and it's also not, in my opinion, because the parents love a thing. Because my kids don't like Lady and the Tramp or Robin Hood, and growing up, those were my 2 favorite Disney movies, and my kids won't sit through them. They won't watch the whole thing. They don't care about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, they don't care about Sleeping Beauty. They care about the ones that Disney perpetuated and made spinoffs of and kept them going over 20, 30 years, like The Lion Guard, which is still being released today. The new live action movies of old films got my kids interested. My kids didn't care about, The Little Mermaid or Aladdin even until they saw the live action ones, and now they like those. Like, they didn't like them the first time they saw them. I think Aladdin they did, but it wasn't the same as when they saw the live action. Disney's not just getting lucky, and it's not my love of certain movies that's making my kids like it. They don't like Transformers. They don't like Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of things I love that I really enjoyed as a kid that I've tried to pass on. I can't get them interested in. They're latching onto the things that Disney works hard to keep relevant for them and to put out new iterations of and to evolve, and that they invest their strategic and marketing dollars in, not to mention production and creation dollars. That's why the kids keep latching onto this and it stays fresh because Disney works hard to make sure it does. It's a drug, and Disney works hard to keep that drug pumping. My kids don't care about anything that hasn't been perpetuated over many, many years.
Well, okay, but see, to me, well, that's the point I'm trying to make here is that, okay, your favorites were Robin Hood and what was the other one?
Robin
And
Hood and Lady and the Tramp.
okay, you're right. So those are your favorites, but they're not your kids' favorites. My kids love Little Mermaid. They loved Little Mermaid. Now they love Beauty and the Beast. Like
Mm,
they've loved, and you know what? When I was a little boy, The Beast was cool. Was not my favorite movie.
yeah.
Like I liked Sleeping Beauty more because there was fighting a dragon in there. Like I even liked Snow White a little bit more just because the dwarves were kind of goofy to me. Like I those were not my favorites. They've liked different ones from me too, but Disney is a magazine of stuff. It is a collection of things. It's the whole caboodle, and that's where I think it comes in, is that even though this particular movie or Seven was not my favorite, when I'm looking around, especially nowadays, when there's media everywhere, and I'm picking something for my kids to watch, Disney's, especially the older Disney that I saw, maybe I didn't even like it that much. That's a safe bet to me.
Yeah.
I like that, and so to me that's more what I'm saying. I'm not saying, "Oh, this, daddy's favorite movie is Braveheart, so we're gonna watch it and you're gonna like it, damn it," kind of thing. Like
Insert
it's
emotional trauma
yeah,
here.
right. Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
can't
I
wait till my kids are old enough to watch that movie with me, but
Oh,
that's gonna
man,
be
they're
a
gonna be
long
like,
wait.
"Dad, you like this movie?" Well, but that's my point though, is that my girls watch Snow White. They wanted to watch Snow White every single day for the next, like, month
Yeah,
after they
yeah.
saw it, and, and again, that was okay, but, like, that was just never my favorite. I actually
It's
like the Robin
Moana
Hood
and
too. It
Frozen for us, like, those were every
Moana
fricking
and
day.
Frozen are huge too, and those are newer, if you
Yeah.
will, but that's my thing, like, what parents are exposing their kids to is Disney already, and so this just feels very Streisand-y to me. This feels like, okay, some jackass made a comment that you don't like, but you're to me, you're looking more insecure, more foolish. I wouldn't have even known about this guy's comment
Yeah,
if
but you
you
live
didn't.
under a rock sometimes. Like,
Well,
I knew
that's
about this
true.
comment and saw the video way beforehand, and I'm obviously
That's fair.
lots of other people did. I think in a world that cares about race and cares about all of these things in a really sort of almost a destructive or affirmative way, like, it's very polarizing,
I was gonna say it shouldn't be about race, it should be
W
about humans. That's why I liked Lion King, not because they had actors
Right,
for this or actors for that. I cared about it because Mufasa fucking died.
but it's not
That
about you, Doug.
hurts. It still
This is
fucking
not about
hurts.
you, like you said,
It
Disney
is
already
about
had your dollars. This is not about you.
No, that's the problem.
You are not their biggest consumer.
Yeah, right now I am. My daughters
You're
only get Tooth Fairy money. They so they that all that Disney money, that is my money, sir.
Disney cares about
They are still getting
DEI.
my money.
Disney cares about DEI and inclusion to the point where they actually sunk foolproof Marvel movies because they prioritize stuff like that over the
Yeah.
storyline. So are you telling me that they don't see cultural recognition and heritage as a viable part of their marketing strategy and their value? Like, clearly somewhere in their strategies, they see that as a huge value for their company, and this directly attacks that line. This tells kids that are growing up watching the newer Lion King movies, "Oh, they lied to you. Disney's not telling you the truth. This is not culturally significant to you." And right now, that is exactly against their brand, and that is exactly the opposite of what they're spending millions of dollars to promote, because that's who they're appealing to, and that's what they're trying to do. They're going after people who feel they've not been included. This is going directly against their efforts and their money and their spending. That's why this is what it is.
Well, I will give you that. That's a fair point. So, because Disney switched up their branding and their marketing and their pushing 10-ish years ago, now they're allowed to attack people for a comment that was otherwise inane 15 or 20 years ago,
That's probably about
basically.
right. Yeah, that's probably
That's it,
right.
and if we're gonna have, and now, again, here we go. Let me stairmaster myself up to my ivory tower real quick. If we wanna have a functioning society that actually preserves any sort of, like, traditions, norms, etcetera, generation over generation, you can't fall victim to this shit,
Yeah,
and and we can talk about, I mean, now if let's pretend, God forbid, I'm in Disney's shoes. First of all, Tom, will not be talking on a podcast like this. I will be doing something, I'll be suing people apparently left and right is what I'll be doing. But
can we
if I'm
give
sit
tours to high college kids of the Disney Sex Toon Vault? Because 'Cause you'd make a lot of money
Oh
doing
my
that.
god. When you told me about that and I was like, "What?" Like, this every so often, Tom will say something just straight-faced, and I'll have to pick out real fast if he's fucking with me or if he's actually serious, and I've gotten pretty good, but I'm still not 100%. I'm like 80-85% success rate now at picking which one it is,
Yeah.
but that was one of the lines where I was like, "Wait,
Is this real?
there's no fucking way this is real." But you're right, you could you could find a way to monetize this if you
Yeah.
really wanted to. It would be tough though, guardrails. You gotta keep this away from your next batch of customers who are still 8,
Right,
you
right.
know?
Yeah. Well, you just sue people into oblivion and
But
talk about it. That's all.
I think that's my thing. Like, if I was in Disney's shoes and I could swing this kind of, legal dick around, I probably absolutely would.
Yeah.
Should I be allowed to? I don't think so. If you're gonna let me, I'm gonna do it. But, you know, oh, boo! This is like someone creating a fancy new computer operating system and Bill Gates going, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, guys, you're impinging on my business. Fuck you." Like, that's how I view this. I view this as Disney crying a big fucking river, or this dude, who
Yeah.
made some serious moolah off of Disney crying a big fucking river. Like, "Oh yeah, I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry that your like life-changing song for millions upon millions of people and kids everywhere who brought happiness to everybody. I'm so sorry that some guy just made a comment that you didn't like." That's how I view this. And again, I wouldn't have heard about this if he hadn't been like that. So it's hard to feel bad for this guy, is all I'm saying. I would
Yeah.
love
And
to be in this guy's shoes where I can do this and apparently feel self-entitled enough to do it.
I don't feel bad for this guy. I think, with Scribe, my big thing that every small business I was helping develop, and everybody I was helping scale, and everybody I was helping to change strategies to get through the pandemic. Every single business that I was working with, no matter what level they were at, my motto was always establish your brand, fight for your brand, defend it to the death. Once you have a brand, you fight for that no matter what. I don't care if you think of yourself as a little bitty business, or if you have aspirations of being a global contender, or if you just want to build yourself up to the point where you sell out to a huge conglomerate company. You fight for your brand and you defend it to the death. It's a mindset and it's a mentality. And it's something Disney does and does very well. And so this all seems very on par. Like, again, it feels weird to be saying, yeah, let them keep their money, because I typically hate the big fish. But
I was gonna say, this is
But
why I
in this
feel weird.
case, my ethics were always, once you have a brand, you don't let anybody take it from you. You fight for that because you've earned it. And it's a lot like, I know we don't like the poker references a lot, but the profitable poker players are the ones who build a strategy, build a plan, and they play with discipline and they stick to their rules. And they don't go every once in a while, I got this gut feeling I'm going to hit that gut shot. So I'm going to put my money in bad 7-1 just because I think I'm going to hit it. They're the ones who don't do that. They stick to the correct play over the long term, and it becomes their approach and a part of how they do things. It's the same thing with running your business. You have to do the right things over and over and over and make that habitual. This is Disney fighting for their brand. That's what this is to me.
Man, you centrists are just so exhausting.
Sorry.
It'd be so much easier if you were just like way the hell over here,
Yeah.
either with me or against me, and it would just be so predictable.
I could just be left or just be right, but then there'd be two of us that were incorrect all the time, and I don't want that to be me. I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm
it's
not going
better
to.
to make sure you're incorrect. It's like random. It's like a surprise.
Yeah, it's
When
like a
is Tom gonna
surprise.
be
Flip a
incorrect?
coin. I
That's the
didn't think
thing.
this was going to turn to this long of a talk. Well,
No, I didn't either. That's why to me, it was just like, "Oh, yeah, okay, like, like, cry me a river, dude." Like, that's
Disney just sued us for the hand gesture Doug made while talking about their brand.
because it's
Uh,
going in the vault. Alright. Yeah, I think we should cut this one off. This has been a good hour plus, and I feel like that Disney's a good stopping point.
I can't believe we went this deep on Disney again. This is like the
I
third
really
time we've done this. Wow.
I know.
All right.
I love it.
Eventually, we'll talk about Walt Disney and his, the dark side of Disney. We've talked about that, and we haven't really done it. We have to have that talk one time. Dedicate a podcast to the dark
This
side of
feels
Disney.
like one of those things where you actually need to force me to, like, do some reading and do some, like, deep dive read up on that if we really wanna get into that.
Or better yet, we
That's
can just go visit his cryogenically frozen head, and we can plug into the USB drive they put into his brain, and we can like download the information. That'll work too.
yeah, see, 55% chance you're serious about this. 45% chance you're not.
Close, yeah, pretty close odds.
Alright. You wanna do a dad joke or 2 real quick before we sign off?
Yeah, we're gonna skip the Hey John update. I do have one, but I'm kind of
Uh-oh.
over Bonnie Blue, honestly, and I'm just viewing her after her latest thing as just like a despicable troll. And I don't think I really want to even talk about the latest stuff because now she's just trolling the troll, and I can't get over that.
Well, okay, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. She's been trolling the troll for since I first heard about her, I think.
Yeah, but it's not even, like, subtle anymore, and she's admitting that she's trying to rage bait people.
Oh,
She's like, "Oh,
now it's
thanks."
not now it's not subtle.
Well, I mean, at least she was smart with the marketing and the strategies,
Oh,
and now
okay.
she's
No,
doing actual interviews saying, "Hey, I'm gonna rage bait in the next couple of days. Pay
okay,
attention to
yeah,
my other account,"
that's
and
a
it's
little bit
just
different.
yeah, I don't wanna get on I can't get on board with that. It's just it's lazy, it's sloppy,
It's
I
true.
don't know. If I wanted that, I'd watch one of her videos, you know? It's not I don't know. It's not where I'm at. So I think I'm gonna skip that one. Yeah, we can do some dad jokes.
Okay.
I've got
Um,
nothing but dark dad jokes tonight, by the way. They're all pretty awful.
okay. Well, then maybe we should do. So, should we do your dark jokes first, or my stupid jokes first? I have so many from the stupid kid. I shouldn't say stupid. Thank you for the Christmas gift, Mom. I believe is who gave this to me. I'm I have to double check. I have one of those, dad joke a day calendars. I mentioned it before.
Mhm.
I'm notoriously terrible with these calendars, by the way.
Yeah,
I'll rip
I am
off,
too.
yeah. Well, so tonight I was looking and I was like, oh, I'm 2 months behind. So I took a look. Oh, can't see. You're gone now. But I saw, hold it steady.
I'm trying. Wow, why is it
Now you're just getting
it
closer to
zoomed
the
in
screen.
on me?
It
I've never
zoomed in
seen
on
that
you.
before.
Oh, you didn't lean forward. That's
No, I
weird.
didn't.
Okay.
I was trying to hold the
All right,
calendar up.
hold it next to your head, like the same distance as your head. There we go. Now I can't read it. Do not be afraid to start over.
Look at the date at the bottom.
Oh, September.
2024.
I,
Yeah.
that was I was still in the one heart surgery phase of my life back then.
Yep, you were.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
but so I have like 20 of these that I thought were actually worth saying, and I do you want to do like a where I tell them and you like rate them? Like that joke's a 5 out of 10. Screw your joke, Doug. Oh, that's a good one. 8 out of 10.
no,
That one sucks. One
let's
out of
just
10.
tell them. No, let's just tell them.
Fine. Mm,
And I was mistaken. I have 2 that are not quite so dark that
okay.
are just Doug jokes.
Oh, yay.
You will really like
Because
one
I
or 2
can't
of
be
these, I
dark.
think.
Okay.
No, no, it's not that. It's just there's a certain kind of joke that makes you chortle a certain way, and I'm hoping
It's
one of these
true.
2 will do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
There is, and they're usually ones that everyone else is like, "You're a serial killer." Like it's
Yeah.
okay. They're
Yeah.
not funny to other people. All right. A cannibal showed up late to dinner. He ended up getting the cold shoulder.
Nice.
One. Here, I'm gonna try to find a way to separate these. 3, 7, 8. Okay, we'll do it this way. My dog ate all the Scrabble tiles last night. I think it's gonna spell disaster.
Oh, I was waiting to hear about a little pea coming out. Okay.
That would have been good too, but they're all the same size, Tom.
Yeah,
Technically, there's not a
that's fair.
little P in
Yeah,
there.
that's fair.
I'm gonna try to use this one as a have you guess. How can you improve gambling addiction hotlines?
Um, you gotta have a winner in here somehow. I don't know. How do you improve them?
Right. They would be so much better if every fifth player was a winner.
There you go.
Why do goats have trouble making friends? This is one you can get, Tom.
Is it
Also,
something
one or
as is it
one or
something as simple as they have bad attitude? It's not something that easy, right?
I mean, it is something that easy, but
Mm,
it's not the punchline here. That's pretty good. I'll give you
okay.
partial credit for that. If this was math, you'd get partial
Alright.
credit.
Alright. Yeah, I don't know
They
if it's gonna be
always
some good.
they always butt heads.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. All right. I never believed in my chiropractor, but now I stand corrected.
Nice.
I think you told this one time. This is why I was going to do the disclaimer. I think you've said this before. A friend of mine got kidnapped by a group of mimes. hmm They did unspeakable things to him.
Yeah, I think we did tell that
Yes,
one
I
before.
think you told that one time. Yesterday, I went to a psychic. I knocked on her door and she said, "Who is it?" So I left. Can't trust him.
Nope.
All right. The oldest computer was owned by Adam and Eve. It was an Apple with very limited memory. Just one bite and everything crashed. Last one for tonight. We were eating dinner tonight when my daughter said, "Your glass is empty. Would you like another one?" And I said, "Why would I want 2 empty glasses?"
See, that's the one I like the best.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That one just feels it's like an extra little layering, smattering of stupid in there.
Okay. I'm gonna
Those
give you
are
the
my
Doug
favorite.
jokes first, and then we're
Ooh,
gonna go into
goody.
the dark
And then
jokes.
we can be dark, and that's such a good. Let's just end the night on dark.
I've developed a fetish for figuring things out.
This is a Doug joke.
Yes, developed a fetish for figuring things out.
Hmm.
I just came to that realization.
Yes, you did. Hopefully, over and over again.
A literalist takes things literally. A kleptomaniac takes things literally.
Yeah. Okay, that's a Doug joke.
That's a Doug joke. All right, let's get a little dark.
Ooh, I was like klepto.
Let's get a little dark. And actually, I should tell these in a different order than I had initially planned. So I learned a few things today.
I'm still laughing about that stupid literally joke.
See, I knew that was a Doug joke.
Really. Whew.
Some of those tickle Doug a certain way, and
They
it
just
keeps
they
going.
do.
Yeah, and it keeps tickling, and
Uh,
that's when I know I get a
it's
good Doug
just
joke.
yeah, you know when you're like, my cheeks hurt. I love it so much.
All right, so the first one comes courtesy of Alabama, by the way.
Oh, good. Another religion slash inbred joke.
Yes,
Got it.
absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Great.
I learned a few things today. I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna be
And-
an uncle, and my sister's not on the pill.
Yep.
I lost 2 things today: my virginity and my job at the morgue.
I've heard that one before.
And then the other super dark one to end the night on. This is the hamster level joke for you out there. If you're listening, buddy, Charles. This is the
Oh,
hamster
buddy
level
Charles.
one.
Okay.
Where
Pull
I try
over,
to approach that.
Charles.
Yeah, pull the car over. This
Pause.
is your
Pull
warning.
over.
Something that you can say both during sex and at a funeral.
Oh God, I used to know like 3 of these a long time ago.
I didn't know many, and then I started. Someone told me a couple, and this one particular stuck out to me.
Mhm.
Even with all of her health issues, I'm glad Grandma was able to come. And you know what? That reminds me of an oldie but a goodie from my army days that I guess I can tell another hamster level joke.
Okay. Stay pulled over, Charles.
You stay pulled over, keep the turn signal on.
Yeah.
What's the hardest part about eating a vegetable?
Coming inside her afterwards.
No, getting her back in the wheelchair
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah, sorry.
All right, we were crass, we were crude, we were dark. Yeah, but
Tom was.
I
I was
was.
just along for the ride.
Doug was wholesome, but he hates Disney. Thank you guys for listening. Sorry, we're still a
Title,
little bit
Doug hates
rough.
Disney.
We're gonna get back into a routine at some point here. We're
At
still
some
figuring
point.
things out.
I
But
don't
thank
know.
you for
It's all
bearing
up to
with us.
Tom at this point. He's been carrying the load.
I gotta write up agendas before the next podcast and maybe script some stuff and have some fun. But
I don't know.
gotta find time for that.
Yeah,
So
because we have plenty of that.
yeah, got
You know,
lots of that.
when I was, it's every stage of life, Tom, and I know I've said some version of this before. When you're like a 5th or 6th grader, you're like, "Gah, I'm so busy."
Yep.
And then you hit high school and you're like, "Fuck, now I'm really busy." Then you hit college and you're like, "Damn, I wish I could go back in high school. I had so much free time." And then you become an adult and you go, "Man, college was just so nice. I still had to work hard on my homework, but I kind of had the rest of my day to myself without work and stuff." And then you get married and it's, a little bit of the same, a little bit less. And then you have a kid. And you realize exactly how much free time you actually had the whole previous rest of your life before that.
No, not even then. It's when you have
It's-
that second kid that you're
Well,
like,
that's true. I
"Holy
mean, well,
cow."
but you know what? But for me, emotionally, 0 to 1 was the absolute hardest. Like
Really?
that was where I had those moments where I was like, "Oh my God, this is forever." Like I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna die before. It was just I don't know. Like even just having one child, it was just like, man, I was like the laziest bum before I had a kid. It was kind of like
Yeah.
how I felt. I felt
See,
like
my
I should have
experience was a
written
little
like
bit
5
different.
novels or something.
Yeah, my experience was a little different. I went from, growing up in high school, and I mean, yeah, I had time, but, again, single mom, and I was probably a little older
Yeah.
for my age, but still had plenty of time and didn't realize. It was always, oh my
Oh
gosh,
my
why don't I have more
gosh,
time?
so busy.
But I didn't go to college after that. I went to the Army, where I really had no time. And it was like, wow, like I'm getting
Right.
3.5 to 5 hours of sleep a night, and I'm doing physical activities for 6 or 8 hours a day. And every minute of my day is scripted, and I only get 1 minute in the shower, and I get 1 minute to get dressed. And holy shit,
Right.
like I had so much time before. And then I went from that to getting married to college. and it was,
I was gonna say you
very
had
different.
lots of time then.
Yeah, I had lots of time then, which was nice. But
Right.
unfortunately, my wife with the job she had then traveled a lot. So, I mean, like, there were times where I was home alone for, like, a week, and I'm just like, "Well,
Mm,
alright, what do I do?
what do
Like,
I do?
I've never had this much time in my entire life. What do I do?"
Right,
So, yeah, I didn't
right.
get that linear experience like you had. I was all flipped around and messed up, but it was when I had kids that everything really changed.
Yeah,
That was the shocker. That was the ice water.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what it's like to go to 4. I'll confirm.
Yep. Interested
Most
in
people,
hearing about that, not interested in living it.
you know, there's been almost 0 consistency with
Yeah.
this because you all just ask people with more than 1 kid is the big thing. What was it like going from 0 to 1? What was it like going from 1 to 2? Which one was harder? If you find someone with 3, because that's what I did, I sought out other parents on the
Yeah.
schoolyard that had at least 3 kids, and I said, "What was it like having a 3rd kid?" And it was literally down the middle. Half of them said, it was like the easiest of all of the stages," and the other half said it was the hardest.
Yeah.
Almost nobody has 4. So, like, 2 people that we've talked to that have more than 4, they basically said that that was the easiest because you've already been outnumbered when you have 3, so it's like you're just still outnumbered, like,
Yeah.
everyone likes to use the zone
Nothing
defense
changes.
reference, like, it
Yeah.
doesn't you just the zone defense changes a little bit, but it's otherwise functionally the same.
So I will say my wife is the oldest of 5, and, my friend Sean has he and Sarah him and my friend Sarah have 5 kids. And
Okay.
granted, they've got a lot of family support, so, they've got some things that probably
Yeah.
help ease the transition. But my understanding after talking to him a lot and hearing of my wife's stories is that once you have that 4th and that 5th, it's easier not because you're used to it, but because your oldest kid is able to help. Like, you can
Yes.
actually rely on the oldest kids, and that help gets progressively better as you go. So you've actually just you are outnumbered still, but not as outnumbered as you think you are, and you do have, little assist coming here and there, so I
Well,
wish you well on your journey, sir.
yeah, well, and actually, I was gonna mention that too, is that our oldest, she is very helpful, and even just today, I noticed it when she will see, like, 2-year-old is, like, trolling the shit out of 5-year-old and, like, really pissing her off,
Yep.
and I saw 8-year-old, like, come wheeling in and go, "Hey, hey," and, like, distract 2-year-old and pull him away, and, like, she, like, saw it, figured it out, mitigated it, knew what to distract him with, like, she took care of it, didn't have
Yeah.
to do anything, and that was nice, but, yeah, I mean, one of the people that we consulted, like, "Oh, what's it like going, from 3 to 4?" And they were like, "Well, we don't really remember because these people have 8 kids." So we're like, "Oh, it's just, whatever."
Whole different yeah. But once you have 8,
Yeah.
you're just actually insane,
Well,
so
they literally had a 1-year-old, and they were like, "Yeah, so and so's learning how to drive now." Like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's different." Yeah, we'll let you know how it goes. I think it won't be so bad because of what you said. We've got 2 going into school day in and day out now, and the oldest is already being helpful and stuff like that. Just have to keep the older brother from smacking the younger brother.
Well, that in itself is its own challenge, but
Yeah.
that's also a part of it's a part of life. Your siblings are gonna smack each other, it's
I
just
never
what it
had a
is.
brother. I woulda loved to
Uh,
smack the crap out of my sister a couple of times, but I wasn't allowed to because she's a girl.
yeah, no, we
It's
beat the hell out of
terrible.
each other growing up.
That's I believe it.
It made us tough. It's all good.
Yeah. Alright. Rambling over. Good
Yeah.
night, everybody.
Rambling over. So glad that we hung up a minute ago and we thanked you guys for listening.
Yes.
I've got no dad homework tonight. Do you?
No. Just make sure you don't say anything bad about Disney because
Yeah.
they'll come get you.
Yeah. In fact, go watch The Lion King so they know you're on their side.
And make sure you have Google Translate listening so that you get the exact correct reference the entire time for anything ever.
But make sure that you're logged in under someone else's account just in case there's something that pops up in there they don't want you to know.
Like what, Tom?
I don't know. But with Disney, I don't want to take any chances.
That's true. Good point.
All right.
They
Thanks
might
for
put you in the
listening.
vault.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Good night, go.